Alright, y'all already know we in here in the green studio with the veteran Doc.
مفتوح للاجتهادات التقريب. هذا حد العالم، هذا طالب، هذا راسخ والى اخره. تحت ايضا
Okay, so JR, in my last interview, he had mentioned his legends. And he had mentioned you as a legend because of
I appreciate that.
What you did, especially with the bar talk and allowing people to be known. He said this was legendary. How do you feel about that?
I just appreciate it. To be honest, it's a very, when it comes to people who were there from when I was around, that means so much more to me. The guys that are new, I don't expect them to mention me. Like, you know, they're gonna check for the guys that are popular now. But guys like him, my contemporaries, the guys who I came up with, that means a lot, to be honest. Those things, I'm gonna give you an analogy that maybe it'll make sense. I don't do it because I think I wanna get status for it. It's necessity. So we're gonna always remember the first astronauts.
Without a doubt.
But you'll never remember the name of the person who built the space shuttle, right? That's kind of just the way it goes. So, behind the scenes, I try very hard to put athletes in a place so that they can earn, whether it's immediate through competition, somewhere down the line through being trainers. I try hard to highlight athletes in the best way I know how, put together competitions of quality. I don't have motives that will put me above anything that I do. So I think that's hopefully that's what JR was speaking to. And I'm very honest. So the JR came from a system from Beast that was very difficult. And Beast is one of the people I would consider a legend because of the system that he was able to create. He's a pioneer, and a lot of what we do today wouldn't happen if it wasn't for what he, you know, the ground he put out, right? I put myself in that category as well. I don't brag or boast, but behind the scenes, I work with a lot of athletes to become winners. That's my reputation behind the scenes. Is I don't train with people for them to just be strong. I train with them to win.
To interject, boss, as well as LeBeau, he mentioned you as one of his top 3 legends too. Shout out to Boss Life, man.
Who's also one of those athletes that is not playing. He's here to win.
Yeah.
And there are others that I won't talk about. And you know, behind the scenes, my guys, man, y'all know, man, they know what it is. Like, you come work out with me, it's not a secret, you know what I'm saying? I've always been putting in work. I just don't need to talk about it, and no one's turning the camera on me. I'm the one holding the camera for others. So I ain't gonna Peter Parker this shit and make it seem like I'm, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not that important. I feel like when people came to Wingate, they got a true experience. They understood the family. There was a history of winning that Wingate held for a very long time. I don't think we can hold that title at the moment, but for a long time, yeah, that's what it was. It was always about win. Team Wingate, right? That was what it was about. And you know, shout out to the teams that are doing that now. You know, and yeah, man, I haven't really been paying much attention to any of the negative stuff that's been going on. But what I will say is this whole legend thing can become very confusing, right? Because it's such an elite title.
Yes.
And there's so much that can come along with that, make a person feel bad or good. But what I will say is there are people you need to respect.
Without a doubt.
And Because if it wasn't for them and what they have done and maybe are continuing to do, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing. And this is where I say Zeph is probably in a league by himself. Because he's been there from the beginning. He's not a talker, but he's still
around, active,
and he's still creating at probably the highest level, not just a high level, probably the highest level. You know what I'm saying? And I'm taking into consideration that it's coming from me. I'm not a person who's taking a step back from calisthenics. I still get busy on a consistent basis. It takes a lot to do that for that many years. That man is in his 40s. He has children. It's not about calling a person a legend. It's about understanding that there's just certain things you got to shake your head and say, that's respect. There was a time when me and Zeb were beefing. Like, we had our own little beef based on, I really can't even remember what, but we weren't like as cool as we should have been. Right now we're like brothers, but at that time we were just like going back and forth. And I love that era because during that time, I could respond with action as opposed to responding with words. This time now, it's a lot of people responding with words as opposed to action. I want to see what you're capable of. Respond with that. So during that time, I'd be in like, you know, the gym we used to train at, Richie's, and I'd do a little workout. And even though he's mad at me, he'll see it and he'll do a workout that was one up, like that, but one up.
Yeah,
then,
competition.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I would go back. It was almost like battle rap, but we weren't talking. It was like what Larry Bird and Magic would do, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, healthy.
It was healthy. The best way to respond. During that time is when if I'm not mistaken, he did the God set, which is the 50 pulls and then 50
straight bar dips
without getting off the bar. This is how you know you gotta be real. I was just like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Even when you mad, it's like, yeah, that's pretty impressive. You know,
pretty.
So let's just keep it tall, and it's not really about what we want a person to pursue, because there's so many different things out here, man. Wherever somebody places me, I'm very grateful, and I feel like that's the place I deserve based on your opinion.
Without a doubt.
You know, so that doesn't mean much. I think what means more to me is how we shape our culture. That's so much more important. You know, we got athletes now that are way more capable than we were, and it's sad that the routines look so much like what they looked like 15 years ago. It should be so much further than they are, right? And that's partially because we haven't fully
evolved.
And it's not that. We haven't fully brought ourselves together to do it in the setting that it should be done in, to evolve it properly. So in the NBA, you see the game looks a lot better now when you see an NBA game, because athleticism is improved. And now the game reflects that. The game changed just enough to highlight the skill sets that are now unique. In our sport, it seems like it's the other way around. It seems like we're trying to create situations that make the person feel comfortable. Like this person is doing a perfect pull-up, and now you want me to say that that's the only way a pull-up should be done. Or this person's doing perfect muscle-ups. Now I gotta say that's the only way a muscle-up should be done. Or, you know, it's appeasing to these individuals as opposed to, you know, allowing the sport itself to get better, because we're pushing each other to get better. You know, we should have already seen the first person do 40 muscle-ups straight, you know, the right way. We should have seen the person do, you know, 100 pull-ups straight the right way. We should have seen that by now. But we don't push each other in a healthy way to get amazing results. You know, we're still trying to fight to say, well, yeah, you're good at that, but you're not good at this, and that makes me better than you because you can't do this. Well, what about your legs? Well, you don't work your core, and you know, all these weird things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lot of self-hate, man, envy,
weird.
jealousy. It's just
it's like I need to find something that you don't do to validate myself. Nah, I don't need to do that. I think that respectfully, man, I tip my hat to all the people who have played a role in the development of the culture. Giant is one of those people. I think at a time he was trying very hard to push calisthenics. I'm not gonna say it was for the same reasons that mine are or for anybody else, but there was a time when that's what he was doing, you know what I'm saying? He was pushing calisthenics. I think there are interesting things that may have happened during the time that may have made go left, right, wherever, but, you know, shout out to him for that moment in time, you know. Shout out to Beast for his involvement and his level of excellence when it came to approaching calisthenics, because he was doing things that probably we weren't thinking about at that time. Wasn't nobody 190 pounds doing 10 one-arm pull-ups and elevators and front lever pull-ups, and like he was doing front lever pull-ups and all that before I even knew that them things were called that. Yeah. Right? Shout out to Zeph for changing the synopsis, like looking at how everything was and just changing it. He's probably the reason why we have discussion of cleanliness when it comes to calisthenics. He was the first person to do 20 muscle-ups clean that I saw. Yes. You know, first person I've seen do 20 clean ones. I would say the same thing to Tech from Harlem Sales. He had a moment when he was really pushing calisthenics real hard. So was Hit Richards. You know, he's not a person who I communicate with at the moment, or he's done some things that maybe people don't talk about him anymore. And that's, I mean, this is, you don't have to put this in an interview. I'm just, you know, I'm just being real. You know, people may not talk about him at the moment, but at the time, he was pushing calisthenics. If I'm making sense, I'm just giving shout outs to people who were instrumental in pushing calisthenics.
Without a doubt.
I think your motives will determine your longevity. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at somebody like Zeph, you have to understand that his motives were noble at the end of the day, because he's still here. When you look at myself, I'm still here.
Without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying? I've been here since day one. That's just
what it is.
What it is. And I'm gonna keep it tall, right? We don't get the same advantages as people of color as everybody else. This is for us. You know, what we have, this community is for us. It's not exclusively for us. Obviously, this is a diverse community, but where it began, its roots, it's like hip hop. You can't change the facts, right? Is hip hop for everybody? Of course it's for everybody, but where did it start, where its roots originate from? We're not gonna change those things, right? We're gonna talk about it for real. This is pride speaking. Like, there's nothing I'm more proud of than to be able to say that we helped change the world, because this genre of fitness is a very respected genre. There are people in the calisthenics world that are more popular than pro athletes in terms of their followings. And that's a fact. I've held events where we would have had to pay these people more than a celebrity if we wanted them to come to our event. On some real shit. And that's nothing I'm gonna talk about, because behind the scenes, we work. But for real, that's how popular and respected this genre is. That wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what we did years ago and continue to do. That's something to be very, very proud of for everybody, to say that you helped change the world.
Without a doubt.
Real shit, you changed the world. This is life-changing for real. There are many people who are they're gonna train their children, they're gonna train their family members, whatever. And a lot of that is based off of things that you may have helped show somebody at one time. That's amazing. And I think for that reason alone, people really shouldn't be arguing and trying to lay some flag in the sand and say, I did this first, or I did that first. I don't think that's that important. What's important is to say we came together at a time when no one expected us to. They probably thought we would be distracted, and we created something that changed the world. That's a legacy.
Without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And for that, you can call yourself a legend. You know, but just chill with the trying to communicate some sort of negativity towards any other group, because everybody had a role to play. You know, and they played their role very, very well, and their success is theirs. underlying statement for the bar world is that you don't get from the bar anything that you don't give to it. You know what I'm saying? If you see somebody do something, that's because they worked hard to get it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no trick to it.
Okay, before we close out, we just want to say for a person beginning calisthenics, you know, and trying to really get into it and take it serious, what kind of words of advice you would have for that person?
It's so much. It's different now because of the YouTube and Instagram thing. I guess you can, you know, comb through YouTube searches and find videos about, you know, beginning calisthenics. But what helps me the most was having a teacher, a hands-on teacher that was able to see me, assess me, and work with me to develop me and cultivate my skills. Like, he knew I had long arms, so there were certain things that he showed me how to do that would be better for me than somebody who might have had shorter arms. I think those things are important, is to have a team, you know, or at least a person that can help you. If you ever played chess, there's a saying, you only get better by playing against better opponents. So it's always important to have somebody around you that can teach you, you know, these little nuances and how to get better. It's okay to do it by yourself. If there's no one around, that's fine. There's a ton of information on YouTube that, and I think has some validity to it. But if you can find somebody or a group of people, nothing beats that synergistic element of training together. You know what I'm saying? You can really accelerate much faster that way. You know? So get with a group, get some people together, lose the ego. Don't look at other people and their capabilities and say, I want to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, because that'll be self-defeating. You won't appreciate the progress that you're making. Just show up every day and keep doing the work and ask a lot of questions.
Without a doubt.
You know what I mean?
All right, Doc, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot for the interview, man.
My brother.
All history.
Indeed, in the body, literal translation, is a lump of flesh, a piece of meat. إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. And when that lump of flesh